every day after practice, coach would read off a group of names. I never forget it. Coach Jack McLaren.
Right.
He's still there now as the athletic director.
Wow.
That's right. He's still there, and of course I went back and joined the board of trustees.
I heard about that.
Yeah, that's another story. And he was still there.
Yeah, he was still there.
So you got to be careful.
Right.
That's
Oh,
how
who
you
cut.
treat people.
That's right.
Because what goes around
comes around. That's right.
You know. But anyway, he's a great guy.
Right.
He really is. But that I went through the first week, second week, third week, every day. I made it through each week, and I'd go back. And I never forget it. I lived in Sampson Hall, and I'd pray to God that please don't let me get cut. Lord, I don't want to go back to the streets of Indiantown. I want to make it. I want to be an example for young men and women. I was the first African-American male student to leave Indiantown, Florida, and go off to college. And I didn't want to come back home a failure. I said, Lord, please don't let me get cut. I want to go to college. I want to get an education. I want to be somebody.
Right.
And because I'd worked in the sugarcane fields, I'd worked in the bean fields and the corn fields, 100-degree temperatures, insects biting, you know. And man, I just wanted a better life. I wanted to get my mom and my dad out of that, you know.
Right.
And here it is. I made it all the way through every week, every day. And the guys that told me said, well, if you make it past Friday, that's the end of the month. The new students come in the next day for orientation. That means you made the team.
Wow.
So I made 29 days I stayed there. I had to listen to that coach read from the clipboard.
Right.
Boy, I was thinking, Lord, God every day.
Right.
And on the last day, he called my name.
The last day.
Very last day, I'll never forget it. He called my name. And I went in his office, and I said, Coach, you know, I'll do whatever it takes. Don't send me home. Please don't send me home. You know, I'll be the water boy. You know, I know how to mop floors, and I can clean real good. I've done that kind of work. You know, I'll do whatever it takes. Just give me a chance.
Right.
Get an education. And he said, I'd like to do it, little Gary, but I'm sorry, we just don't have room for you. And he said, I know how it is. It's difficult. I don't like doing this, but we don't have so many spots, and we have to take, you know, the guys that we think can help the team the most. And right now it's just a coach's decision, nothing personal.
Right.
And I said, well, I understand. I said, but, you know, I left with tears in my eyes. I never forget that. That Friday, I went unpacked my clothes, and I went down on US 1 in Daytona Beach, Florida, and I caught the Greyhound bus back to Indiantown, back to Stewart. And my dad and my wife picked me up, and man, I was on the phone calling my high school coach. I said, Coach, you got to get me somewhere. I can't stay here. I got to go to
You
college.
just knew that.
I
you
knew
you could not stay there.
And how dark it was. It was in my blood, man.
Mhm.
And he said, well, I'll tell you what. He said, I know a coach that just got hired up in North Carolina, Dennis Jefferson. And he used to play ball with me at Florida A&M. And, you know, the Florida A&M football players were just like a fraternity. They were real close.
Oh, yeah.
He said, well, he just got the head coaching job up there. He was a little guy at A&M, and he played quarterback, so maybe he'll understand, and he won't hold your sides against you.
Right.
So go, and I'll call him and tell him you're coming. And he said, because, you know, they have a few weeks before school starts. And I went that Sunday afternoon, caught the Greyhound bus over here in Stewart, Florida. I never forget it. We didn't even have a bus station.
Wow.
Didn't have a bus station. I flagged down the Greyhound bus.
Man, you're determined.
Hey, I had to go, Doc.
Right.
And I had a little suitcase that was held together with a rope. I tied the rope around because the zipper was gone. And everything I had was in that little suitcase.
Man.
And I had about $15, and my daddy and my wife, she was my girlfriend then, Gloria, they put me on the bus, and I was off to North Carolina. First time out of the state, away from home on my own.
Wow.
But, Doc, I had to go. That's why I tell kids today, don't tell me that you can't make it.
Right, that's right.
Don't tell me, you know, because of the color of your skin or because you know, your family background or whatever. I don't care what it is.
Right.
You know, you just got to have a burning desire to do it. And if you have that, you know, it'll take you places where you never thought you could go.
Oh, yeah.
You
Oh,
know?
yeah.
But you just got to believe.
Oh, you got to believe, man. You got to believe. I mean, and Shaw turned out to be a very good decision for you.
Yeah, it was because I got there and you know I went through a thing at Shaw too because they didn't know I was coming.
Right? Yeah, you just
Coach had said he was coming.
Right.
He was gonna call, but he forgot to call. So I got there that next morning. They
Really?
said, "Where are you and who are you?
Right.
You got to get off this campus."
Right. We don't know you.
Man, I slept in the lobby of the dormitories on a sofa at night. It was cold in the Carolinas.
I read about
It
that.
was September
Yeah.
at night, and the coaches had told me I had to leave campus. I stayed, and some of the football players would sneak food out of the dormitory. I mean,
Wow.
out of the cafeteria
Cafeteria.
to the dormitory,
Mm.
so I could eat, and I'd hide out so the coaches could. But I was going to stay there.
Right.
Finally, I got a chance. I never forget it. It was a Friday evening. I helped the trainer take the ice and the first aid kits down to the practice field. Player got hurt.
Right.
I took his equipment off the field, put it on, tried out for the team,
Wow.
and won a spot on the team.
Wow.
But I tell kids today, Doc, that I won more than a spot on the football team.
Mm-hmm.
That's the day that I won in life.
Mm-hmm.
I won with my family. I won with my kids. I won with my law practice. Things that had not even come to pass.
Right.
I won with those things.
Right.
Because
And
I
more
didn't
importantly,
quit.
Doc, you won with yourself. You
That's
saw
right.
the fortitude inside of you.
Exactly right. Because I didn't quit,
Mhm.
and I didn't give up. I could have just thrown the towel in and you know tried to hitchhike my way back to Stewart to the sugarcane fields of South Florida.
Right.
But I didn't. I stayed. So you know, staying there and prepared myself to just be there was so important.
Yeah, that's a blessing, man. And every time I hear that story, Doc, I tell you, and I know the story well, but I wanted our viewers to hear it for the first time because that story inspires people. You know, when you came down to Tallahassee, man, people are still talking about you in Tallahassee. No,
Well,
really, they
well,
man.
You set the stage, though,
Yeah.
man. You set the stage. You had some star-studded people there, but they were good people.
Yeah,
they
just
were
down
like
to earth.
common, down to earth people. No big eyes or big U's, but everybody there had talent. Everybody there in their own right were were major achievers, and you brought all those people together, and together we were able to inspire some other people because everybody. I'm telling you. I brought with me about 12 to 15 people from my office, and a lot of those students represent law schools all around the country. Tulane, Indiana, Howard, North Carolina Central, all of them, all over. And they still talk about
Wow, that's a blessing.
That's the highlight.
Right.
That's the highlight
Right.
of their whole summer.
Wow.
Hey, Glow, we're taping down here, babe.